Episode 38 of the Bmoney Beastin podcast. I'm here with Luke Swan and Mason Hoopman, correct? Did I say that right?
Yes.
The wwewannabes, which is like, you have that misconception, right, with a lot of the casual, just everyday people that, when you say wrestling, right, you think WWE or, TNA or whatever. I'm kind of curious. Like, I want to know about you guys and learn about you guys. We've chatted. I ran across y'all's Instagram page. But, all right, so how did you mesh, like, WWE and, like, amateur wrestling, folk style wrestling? Like, how did you, like, decide this is what we're going to do here? Like, I'm curious. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So, Luke, him and his dad have actually done the WWE, like, that people think of, like, in the ring, jumping off the ropes and everything. And so one time we were at practice and we brought one of our teammates brought this big blue mat out that like they're practicing throws on. And then we were like, what if we tried the WWE move on it? And so we did, and we filmed it, and it was really cool. We thought it was really cool. So we posted it on Instagram and everything, and our family all loved it, and we're reposting it and everything. So we're like, dude, let's make a TikTok. And then, yeah, we just kind of started. At first, we were only doing WWE kind of throws.
That's pretty cool, man. Like, so what you guys, I guess we chatted. I don't know which one of y'all I was talking to. Who have I mainly been speaking with?
Probably Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. At one time, I guess y'all were down in Florida or something, and now you're in Wisconsin. So let's just start from the beginning here, you guys. I guess y'all are teammates, right? Is that correct in college? So each of y'all can go, I guess, would be the way to do it. Because I've never done this with two people, right? Like, kind of. So usually it's a one-on-one. So kind of tell us, like, how you kind of got into the sport and how you ended up from where you were to where you are. And I'm assuming, I believe you guys wrestle at Wisconsin Whitewater, right?
Yeah.
Which is a ridiculous football powerhouse, from what I understand. Right?
Except for this past season, but
yeah, like over the years, man, like it's like them and what, like Mount Union, I guess, are like the two, like isn't it the D3, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's start with you, Luke. How did you get into wrestling? Like, how did you end up, like, where are you from, and how did you end up there? And like, let's go that way.
So I'm from Downers Grove, Illinois. I never really thought I'd be wrestling in college. I never thought the sport would take me this far. But how I started was, I'd say my dad was a professional wrestler, like, growing up. So, like, I always was, like, around, like, wrestling and stuff. And then I ended up starting Taekwondo because my dad wanted to get me into, like, some kind of combat sport. And then I did it with my sister, and then my sister ended up getting injured doing it. So I stopped and I joined wrestling, and then didn't really like it too much when I started. And then as time went on, once I started getting into high school, it started growing on me a little bit. And then around senior year, I didn't really have any aspirations of wrestling in college. And then I started getting reached out to by some different, like, schools and stuff. And then took a visit here, made my decision to come here. And that's that. That's about it. I mean, I love it. Now I love what I do. So
I grew up like a big pro wrestling fan when I was a kid. I'm just curious, dude. Like, so your dad was a professional wrestler?
Yes, he was. He was a independent professional wrestler for, it's been like 35 years now, I want to say.
So he just traveled the country. We're going to armories, the gyms, to whatever. That's awesome, dude. Like, I always imagine that the lifestyle has to be like, who works harder than pro wrestlers, right? Like, traveling the world. Like, I mean, now on a WWE level, you're traveling the world, but even like traveling the country. Say you're in like Chicago today and you got to be in, Dallas tomorrow, right? I'm just making this up, and then you got to find a way to work out, eat, wrestle, get back in your car, go somewhere else. Whose job is harder than that? Like, that's got to be, at least most people can clock in and clock out, dude. You're nonstop doing that job. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So what about you, Mason? How'd you end up there, big dog?
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same old story. My dad threw me in wrestling when I was a little kid, and I would just be up at our middle school practices with my older brother. And I mean, they'd be wrestling, and me and my cousin would just be running around grabbing each other. We didn't know what was going on, but eventually I made it through middle school, high school. I grew up in a very small town, so everyone kind of knew each other, and everyone on the wrestling team was, I don't know, almost family. Like, I think right now on it at my high school, I have like 4 of my cousins on it. It's just a very small town. But then I don't know. My dad worked really hard to put us in like extra camps and wrestling camps to try and get better and stuff. And then by the time high school was over, I was kind of looking at some colleges, and I reached out to Whitewater, and me and the coach got talking, and yeah, I loved it as soon as I got on campus.
You got an accent. Are you from up that way?
Yeah. I'm like 50 minutes south of Green Bay.
So you grew up a Packers fan?
Yes.
And you're from Illinois, so does that make you a Bears fan?
That does make me a Bears fan.
Okay, so how are you guys even buddies?
Yeah, well, it's a love-hate relationship.
Because, that's really interesting because, when you go to college, like I've told my story numerous times. I had a chance to play college football, right? And I got in some trouble and, whatever. And I remember going up to a visit that I was at in Kentucky at Cumberland College, right? They were NAIA. And I remember going up to this visit, and I met so many different guys that were coming in that had different walks of life and backgrounds and things like that. And I think that that's a really cool dynamic of actually getting to do your sport or whatever it is you do, whether you're going to be a physicist or, you wrestle or play football or whatever it is you're going to college that you want to do. You're going to meet so many people from different walks of life, and it's pretty cool how you mesh with different people, even when you disagree with them about certain things like you two. Because being in the same division, the Packers have had a good quarterback for about 35 years. We're going from Favre to Rodgers, and now Jordan Love looks like an all-pro. And then you got this guy over here with the Bears that's been a dumpster fire for the past God knows how long. So, like, I can see you guys during football season like, hey, man, you, dude. So,
I mean, I think it is good, though, like you were talking about, like, meeting different people that kind of don't have your exact same ideals and or thoughts, and it just kind of challenges you, and I feel like that's what really makes you grow. So I think
absolutely. Yeah, I think that we can take things from everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think and you learn that on a smaller scale, like in high school, right? Because when you're in high school, and this is just my opinion, and you guys can give me yours. When I was in high school, I'm from a small town too, basically, I guess you could say, Ringgold, Georgia is about, 5 miles wide. And, it was weird because in that demographic where I grew up, you had like a wealthy population, then you had like a really impoverished area, but it was like on 2 different ends. Does that make sense kind of in a way? Yeah. But they're all meshed together in a high school building. And I think that would probably be the same anywhere, but you start to kind of learn, different people and, their backgrounds, and you might meet, I met one girl who was I'm going to say it. She was a bitch. All right. Like I remember when I was in high school, and she said this, I remember she looked at me and she said, I will never live in a mobile home. And I remember thinking, okay, I didn't know how to respond to that. And I didn't know her that well. I still don't know her that well. But I went into a gas station about 5 years ago, and it turns out her dad owned like 19 gas stations around our area. I was like, no wonder she's never going to live in a mobile home. Right? So, but you have people like that. She was wealthy. I didn't even know it. And then you had other kids that were wealthy, that were just everyday people that were nice and, respectful. And I think what I'm getting at is like you can't always judge people based on their backgrounds and things, and I think you can always take something from everybody. Like everybody's got something that could help you along the way. And I think that kind of widens out when you go to college, because now you're not just talking about people in your town, you're talking about people from all over the country. So that's a really cool dynamic. And you guys, this is really cool, man. I'm a big fan of you guys because you got division rivals. And by the way, I think Caleb Williams is a bust, Luke, dude. I'm sorry.
He had some good moments. Yeah. He had some good moments.
I thought Eberflus was a lame duck coach. I think Ben Johnson will do a good job. You know, they just hired him the other day. But I just don't like the concept that we're going to paint our nails and, you know, he's just odd. He doesn't fit the mold to be a quarterback. At least that's my opinion. I still think now they're looking back and the Bears in 10 years are going to be like, we could have drafted Mahomes and we didn't. And we could have drafted Jaden Daniels and we didn't. And, you know, by the time, you know, I'm 95 and y'all are in your 80s, you know, they may get another playoff. But anyway, guys, let's move forward. So you got to Wisconsin Whitewater, both of you. Who got there first, and did you get there the same year?
Same year.
Yeah.
Both sophomores.
Do y'all have a lot of classes together? What are y'all's majors? Let's start with you, Luke.
I'm a general business major. So like business administration and management.
That's cool, man. What about you, Mason?
I'm business finance. So we do have a lot of classes together, actually, which is nice.
Yeah, dude. So y'all are together all the time. Do y'all ever like sit and like kind of plan like, hey, this would be kind of cool to make a video on this or
all the time?
Oh, everything. I have the things we talk about are video ideas.
See, dude, that's cool. Like me, I feel like I'm kind of riding solo all the time. All right. Like the Bmoney Beastin thing was originated with my son, right? I was doing it with him. You know, he turned 15 and he's a freshman in high school and he's doing his own thing. And it just kind of got left to me. And that's where the card game came from. Me and a partner I got out in California, we kind of created the Mac Clash game. But when it comes to like creating content, I'm 36, dude. I don't relate on the same level that you guys do, right? So it's like I take inspiration from like a bunch of these different, like you'll notice if you look at my Instagram or at the Bmoney Beastin Instagram, you'll notice like a lot of people collaborate with me, right? Because they're like, well, this one kid, Just Wrestlers or something. He's messaged me since I had like 200 followers. I don't know why, but like he's always sending me stuff. Like this morning, I accepted one right before I got on. I don't even know what it says, right? Like, so it's one of those things where I think it's cool to have somebody to collaborate between the two of you together and be like, dude, this would be like really cool. Because, man, when I seen the one where you like jumped over his back and it's like, man, I need to sit down or whatever it was, bro, I was like, sit my stupid ass down or whatever. I was like, dude, that's hilarious. And you know what? It's true.
Yeah.
It's like so spot on accurate. So tell me, man, I don't know a lot about Division III wrestling. I've always felt like, you know, of course, Division I's where they get the most, you know, mainstream, you know, whatever, you know, Iowa, Penn State, whatever. And then I live in the South. So in the state of Georgia, we don't have a Division I program. We have several NAIA programs, right? And I think one D2, maybe two, I don't know. Down here, Life University is like the kind of the marquee for college wrestling down here. They won a national championship about 3 years ago. You know, Grandview in Iowa has won like, you know, 14 in a row or something. Well, the one they didn't win was by Life in Atlanta, and it was a big fluke, but you know, we'll take it down here, right? So tell me about Division III. Tell me about the program at Wisconsin Whitewater, and tell me like, you know, like your conference setup. Like I want to learn about all this. I think it's really interesting.
I think, you know, over here at Wisconsin Whitewater, we got everything we need to be successful. I mean, we have great coaching staff. I love our coaches so much. And I think, like, they help us with everything we need to succeed on and off the mat. And then when it goes to, like, Division III wrestling compared to, like, Division II or Division I, like, training-wise, like, I think that being a Division III program, we're training harder than most Division II and Division I programs like in the country. So I think on a training level, there's not a huge difference. I think if not, I think we're training harder than some of these other schools that are supposed to be better than us. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of my input on it.
So what is like, who's in, I guess, there's like in the Division I, there's like the Big Ten, the ACC, whatever. What are the conference alignments in Division III? Like who's in like your conference for Wisconsin Whitewater? Like who do y'all wrestle like year in, year out?
Yeah, well, I mean, mostly just a lot of like our biggest rivals too are the other UW schools. Like just last week we wrestled just it'd be last week now. We were up against UW Lacrosse, who unfortunately beat us, but that's a pretty big rivalry every year. And just because a lot of the people that like go there are also all these players are from Wisconsin. Everyone's kind of known them growing up in high school and stuff. So there's already been kind of things there. But another one is UW Parkside too. Is like one of our
Caden Henschel.
Yes,
Caden Henschel,
yes.
Yeah. Dude, you guys have the opportunity to nip at his heels. There's very few. You see a lot of guys, and mine. I'm not trying to be a content creator. I'm trying to just build a brand, and I feel like there's very few. Outside of like Caden, Muggsy. There's a guy now. I don't know if you follow him, Jacob Howland. He's down here in Georgia. He does some awesome technique videos, and he actually works with Muggsy to he talks about it, kind of edit his stuff and whatever. But there's not enough of like the way Caden Henschel does things. He's very raw about it, right? Like he admits when he loses, he kind of talks his way through the match. And I think that's what kind of got him really, really popular. Mm-hmm. You guys have an opportunity to do the same thing. You're in college, you can get all the footage you need. Like, just think about that. Like, these funny ones are awesome, but start kind of documenting like matches and breakdowns and things. I think that would be super cool. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So back to the college thing, though. To take me through a day in the life of a college wrestler at Wisconsin Whitewater. A day in the life. All right, we get up at what time? We do what? We do what? We do what? I want to hear that from top to bottom. What do you eat in a day? Like, tell us about it.
All right, so a day in the life of a college wrestler here would probably be, we'll go like a Monday. We'd wake up. We usually got lift at 5:53. Pretty specific time.
Yeah, that's a random time. Explain that.
I honestly have no idea why. Like, why not 6? I don't know, but
I think it's for they want the first 7 minutes to be like a warm up in the gym, and then by 6 o'clock be ready to roll. But yeah, so we lift at 5:53. We're lifting by 6, and then after lift, we usually some guys go over and get breakfast at our university center, and then after that, had some classes. Usually, most of our guys have classes till like 12:45, and then from after lift to 12:45, and then grab some food. Usually, get some like chicken breast or rice at the dining hall. See what they got over there, and then we practice again every day at 2:15. 6 days a week, depending on like when we have competitions on like Fridays or Saturdays, like duels or tournaments. After that, if it's a Tuesday after our 2:15 practice, we usually go like 2.5 hours average. If it's a Tuesday after our 2:15 practice, we'll get in the cold tubs. Usually our practices are a little bit shorter on those days, just so we have enough time to do homework and stuff after practice and after the cold tubs and stuff. And then, after practice, it's kind of just like your time to do what you need to do what you got to do to get your schoolwork done, and make sure you're staying on weight, eating a healthy diet, stuff like that. And then you can head to dinner like whenever you want, kind of around then. Our dining hall's usually closed around like 7, so anytime till then you can go and get dinner. And then it's like rest of the night's like homework, get all that stuff done, play some video games, maybe hang out with some friends, hang out with the team. That's about it.
6 at 5:50 a.m. or whatever, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Dude, how this is another aspect. I had an interview about 3 months ago with a guy. I can't ever say his name right. He's at Cumberland University, Cumberland's Campbellsville. He's at Campbellsville down in Kentucky. Jastatine Kua Zumba. I can't say his name ever, but he's super cool. He's got a pretty cool Instagram channel. He told me, we talked about weight cutting, and he's like, he had this guy that was like a former NAIA national champ that wrestled there years ago, who came in to train with him. He said, dude, I ain't cutting weight. He said, if it's a few pounds, that ain't cutting weight. He goes, but don't cut 15 pounds and expect to be your best, you. So what do you guys do in terms of weight cutting? Like, how much weight do you cut on average, and what's your weight cutting like process?
I mean, I would have to go with probably a similar answer to that. I don't really cut weight that much. I try to wrestle where I feel healthy and where I can feel full enough to be able to reach my full potential. Like, I don't want to go out there wrestling after I just got done cutting 12, 15 pounds and then not be able to perform to the best of my ability. So yeah, I'm not really cutting that much weight to wrestle in college.
So what do you figure, 5-6 pounds, probably what you're coming down, something like that?
Realistically, yeah, like it's just like most of it's just like natural weight that I gain like after eating over the weekend or something that I can get off pretty easily. It's nothing crazy. And
what about you, Mason?
Well, so I was just also going to add another thing, and I mean I would have to agree with Luke. Like, I really don't. I mean, I've been out for actually the last like 2 months of the season just because I actually tore my meniscus, so I haven't been around it as recently. So I've been letting Luke kind of take the questions, but I just had to add, or thought that I'd add too, that our coaches, they have us, and I'm not sure if this is common for other college programs or anything, but we have to do be at a right, or what do we call it? The training weight.
Training weight, I'd say.
Yeah. So basically, they like take your weight class that you want to wrestle at, multiply by a certain percent, so you're however many pounds over, and then they want us to consistently weigh in at that weight. And when you do that, it allows your body to kind of get used to that weight and start losing, like burning some fat and stuff. And it makes weight cut actually a lot easier when you start to consistently stay down at that weight.
Oh yeah, that does matter. So you're essentially not cutting; you're just trying to maintain within reason. Is that kind of what you're explaining to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I tell you, man, like you see this, and you said, Luke, that you kind of started late, a little bit later, and then you were saying that you started like in youth wrestling, right, Mason, like years and years ago. Something I've kind of seen over the years, and I did it with my son. The youth circuit, like go to Tulsa one year, you'll see 10-year-old kids cutting 12, 15 pounds, and that there ain't no 12-year-old kid that's like, yeah, Dad, let me starve for 3 weeks. Like, we all know, and I was guilty of it. I mean, that it's the dad or the parents' idea. Oh, we got to go this way. We got to go this way. And just recently, I was talking to my son, and we're going to go to freshman state next month down in Atlanta. And he's walking around, I don't know, 130-ish. And I said, dude, what weight you going to go? He goes, 18. So, all right. And then about 3 days into it, he's like, Dad, I'm going 25. And I was like, he goes, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'll work out every day and I'll go to practice. And, I can cut 5-6 pounds in a day. Right. And I was like, all right, cool. And then you're talking about day of weigh-ins too, right? So if he cut 12 pounds, it's going to take him till 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the day. The tournament would be over before he feels good. Right.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of kids though. And I think it's like this weird cycle where you get into this mindset like coming up that you can't compete without cutting massive amounts of weight. Does that make sense? Like you just can't. I can't wrestle unless I cut a lot of weight. Well, dude, we've tested that theory several times, and over the years, like for like I don't know how like the youth up there was, but like down here, we live like right on the Tennessee-Georgia line, And we would do like the Tennessee top 100 tournaments that were, they had like 3. And if you won them all, you got a belt or whatever, which we weren't qualified because we were in Georgia. So it was like we just did the one. But they did day before weigh-in. So you'd have kids sucking down, whatever. Well, in Georgia, it was you weigh in at 7, you wrestle at 8. So, like, we would only come down like a pound, right, like growing up to do these. And he always did fine, right? And, he kind of looks at me here now that he's older. He's like, dude, I wrestle better when I don't feel like garbage, right? Like, you got to kind of balance that. So I think there's just this narrative that kind of needs to change, like that, oh, I can't compete because I'm too big and I got to cut this extreme weight. Because I think you guys would agree with me. It's not like that at all, dude. Like, it's more about technique and, that kind of thing than it is. I think technique beats strength. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think technique is definitely a solid foundation that you have to start at before anything in wrestling.
Yeah, dude. Like, if you're more technical than another guy, he can be stronger than you. But, like, I think if you're actually a better wrestler, you're going to win the match. Or at least that's my opinion. I'm trying to debunk this weight cutting, like, idea. Like, I just think that, especially looking back at my life and, like, how I've kind of come up with my son, and it's like, dude, was that necessary? Like, did you think you know what I mean? Like, is it really necessary? I think you should clean up your diet. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think you should, like, starve for 3 or 4 weeks, getting ready. How do you think you're going to wrestle, dude, when you have your blood sugars killed and stuff? So I think that's cool that neither one of y'all are, like, extremely weight cutting, even in college. That's a great thing. So, dude, we were talking about the pro wrestling thing, which I think is cool. I'd love to talk about a little pro wrestling because, dude, I'm a fan, right? I grew up in the 90s, which is arguably the greatest era of all time. With like The Rock and Steve Austin and, all that. That was cool. And Goldberg and all that. Dude, like, have you grown up, like, did you too, Mason? I'm asking you too. Did y'all both grow up like pro wrestling fans? I know you probably did, Luke, but like.
Yeah, for sure. To be honest, no. I mean, I really didn't like pay any attention to it until I met Luke, which is just like going back to what we were saying before, different people will kind of help you experience different things. And I mean, I love it. Like a couple of our other guys on our teammate, like Jalen Dunson, our 125, he's super big into it too. So he's been in a couple of our videos and we'll go and watch it at his house. And I don't know, it's just brought us together too, which is very cool. But
so so you're like in this new era, like Roman Reigns kind of thing. It's kind of like you're in this era, Cody Rhodes. Luke, when did you start watching? Who was like the guy then? Cena, probably?
John Cena was like
the dude.
The Lord when we were watching back then. But yeah, he wasn't always my personal favorite.
When I was a kid, I had this fixation with Rey Mysterio. I just thought, like, I don't know if you guys ever get a chance, but get on, like, I guess it's on Netflix now, right? They moved it all to Netflix. Like, yeah. I think so. Like, you can watch, like, old Nitro episodes. And, dude, Rey Mysterio, when he was in WCW back in, like, the mid to late 90s, I've never seen a better athlete in my life. This dude I was like blown away, like some of the athletic, acrobatic things he could do. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. And I remember the neighborhood kids would come over. I was like 10, right? And we'd be like, man, I think we can do that. I remember my buddy down the street tried to do a backflip off the roof. And he like landed on his shoulder. And I thought he was dead. I was like, dude, we can't do that again. So, but yeah, man, like, and then you look now, it's 2024. That guy's still going. He was on SmackDown like last week. He's like 50-something years old. And it's like, that's unbelievable. But like, and of course, The Rock's a big movie star. And when he shows up, it's pretty cool. But like, so who's your favorite guy, Mason, since you're watching it now? Like, who do you gravitate to?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I like Roman Reigns a lot just because when I was little, I mean, I of course, I knew like John Cena and The Rock, and I did like The Rock when I was little. And I don't know, Roman Reigns just reminds me a lot of him. So,
what about you, Luke? Who's your guy?
My guy was The Undertaker.
Dude, that's awesome,
man.
Which version of him, though? You know, he was like the dead zombie guy, and then he was like the biker. Like, which version did you like better?
I'd have to go with the dead zombie guy.
You know, over the years, you know, he was so good over the years of like continuously like kind of changing, but not changing, but just enough to make it interesting. Like, I remember I was traumatized when I was like 11. I watched my mom every now and then would let me order a pay-per-view, right? And, you know, back then, you know, like they were still like $60 back in like the 90s. And, you know, that was a lot of money back then, right? And I remember she let me get, I think it was like WrestleMania, I don't know, 14, 13, whatever it was. And he like literally put a noose around Boss Man, like hung him from a cage. And I remember seeing that, and I was like a little kid. I was like, dude, they're committing a crime on TV. Like, and so, yeah, man, like he's been really cool. And his podcast is really cool. If you hadn't checked it out, man, you really should. He tells some really cool stories. I forget what it's called, but it's really cool. So now that we've established that we have like this backstory of pro wrestling and you guys wrestle in college, this is like the coolest mesh up kind of thing ever. Like, so what do you intend to do with like this wannabes like brand type? What do you want this to become?
That's actually a really good question. I mean, because we've been like we were just making funny skits and really doing it for just us, like posting whatever we wanted to do and stuff. And then we started getting a lot of views on them, like, and post them to Instagram and stuff too. And we've tried a couple other like videos that aren't as aren't as in the ordinary as we usually do. Like, we interviewed one of our coaches who's a 2-time natty champ, and just like asked him some tips and stuff. And I don't know, we're still working on kind of getting those videos down, perfecting them. Like, I think we made it a little too long and stuff, but we're definitely trying to expand it in different ways. And like, I mean, I think I could speak for Luke on this too. We're not opposed to doing videos, like you said, kind of similar to Caden Henschel's, where we take the viewers through a match and just like kind of talk about our thoughts about when it's happening and stuff. But we haven't really started to dabble into that, but I think there's definitely could be a future in that.
Dude, I think there is, man, because like the casual individual that would be like scrolling, I'm just imagining this like through reels. Like, I don't know how many times like I've seen like a volleyball video. I'm just making this up, but like something where they're like, bro, I have no idea how the scoring system works in the game of volleyball. Like, I have no clue. Like, I know they like punch a ball and they're wearing short shorts. I don't know nothing on that, right? So it's like, I seen a video one time I was scrolling and it was like the scoring system of volleyball. And I was like, this is pretty, and I stopped and I kind of watched it. And it was about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And in 1 minute and 20 seconds, I kind of learned what a dig was and then it kind of gave me like I learned something. Mm-hmm. And then you look at it and it had like 7,000 likes on it. And it was like a breakdown of, you know, the game starts here, this does this, this does this, this does this. I think that for wrestling is huge because, especially now, to me, the rules have been kind of condensed, right, with the new scoring system. And it's pretty easy to understand in general. But it's one of those things where, like, you know, hey, he catches, you know, a single here and, you know, got a 3-point takedown and, you know, whatever the case may be. He's throwing in boots and then maybe you pause it and you kind of go have arrows. Like, you put 2 legs in, you can run this, 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 and this. What's he going to do? Like, there's little ideas there that I think would catch attention of the casual scroller. And I think that's what Caden Henschel's done really well over the years. And I think you guys have a really good opportunity to do that, especially considering, like you said, you're hurt right now, right?
Yeah.
I would be sitting at every duel recording as much footage as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion. I would have my phone on a tripod and just hit record. I can break it up later. And I think that having that content, even if you broke them down in like 20-second little intervals, you got a lot there. And especially with y'all's creativity, man, sit my stupid ass down. Like, dude, with being creative like that, like, it's really cool, dude. And I'm a big fan of what y'all are doing. So you're both sophomores. You're both looking to business. When you graduate college, we'll start with you, Luke. What do you want to do for a career? What do you feel like would be something that fits you? And do you guys intend to kind of stay close to each other to keep going with this thing? Like, tell me about that.
So as career wise, I mean, I've always wanted to like have my own business, like something that I can call my own, something that I like started up myself. And then as it goes for staying together, I don't know, it's a little tough right now just because Mason lives down in Florida and then I'm here all of the year living here. So yeah, that's might be a little bit tougher, but we'll figure something out. We'll definitely figure something out if we keep growing with this. So,
what type of business do you think you would enjoy doing?
Shoot, that's a tough one. I'm not too sure, but like, I don't know. I'd be interested in like something like having my own like restaurant or something like that. Like that'd be like something cool to me. But
food is something that will always sell.
Yep.
Everybody has to eat. So that's actually a really cool plan. What about you, Mason? What do you want to do when you graduate?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to just kind of copy and paste Luke's answers all the time, but I really do want to own my own business too, or at least be a part of like higher up in a business. And I don't know, my thought with that is just like if you're at the top of a business or running a business, no matter what the business is, I feel like it would be, I would always want to put 110% into it. My family kind of has a history with financial advising. My uncle owns a financial advising business. My brother works there. So that's kind of what I've always been around. So that's why I'm going into business finance and ideally, hopefully, yeah, owning my own practice someday. So
that's awesome, dude. See, I know you guys have followed us or whatever, but I'll give you just a brief backstory. That's interesting because I can relate to what you're talking about. For one, I'm gonna give you a PSA. Don't have kids when you're teenagers. All right, don't be like me. It makes things a lot harder. I got out of high school. I had a chance to play college football, and I got some trouble. And that happens to a lot of kids or whatever. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I got into the cable industry like right out of high school. I didn't go play college football. I worked really hard for a really long time. Didn't make a lot of money, but I kind of got by, Eventually, and I'll say this to you guys, and you'll think back on this. Eventually, everybody gets an opportunity, right? It's when are you gonna be able to be ready for that when it's there? Are you going to take advantage of it when it's given to you? And I got offered an opportunity for an e-learning company, and it was in the cable space. And I started doing like technical writing and stuff like that. And eventually it turned in about 3 years later, it turned into my full-time job. And I've been doing it ever since. And that was, 10 or 11 years ago. And then off of that, we did so well that I was like, well, I want to have a passion project, right? And that's where Bmoney Beastin came from. So like this thing, man, I don't know where it goes, what's going to happen with it. I know that we created something cool. We're creating a storyboard now, looking to maybe have a comic series. Like we got a lot of wheels turning, right? And I'm having so much fun with it. And I'll tell you this, man, whatever you guys do in your life, always look at it, and I'm giving you like dad advice. It makes me feel old right now, but like whatever you get into, and I like when you said just put 100% into it. That's it, dude. Like that's the key to everything. If you're in something, and wrestling's the greatest sport in the world to teach people that is you have like wrestling exposes when you don't, right? If you ain't been training very well and you go wrestle, you're going to look like shit, right? Like, I mean, the other guy is and you're not. It just exposes it. So whatever you do, man, just that's the perfect answer. Just put 100% into it. And, you have to do something, though, that you're passionate about, right? So if you get into, like, you guys love the sport of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't, you wouldn't put 100% into it, would you? Absolutely not. So whenever you do, if you guys do get into like owning businesses, really look at am I going to love this in 5 years before you put a ton of money into it, right? I'm 4 years into this Bmoney Beastin project, and dude, it's never what you think it's going to be. Let me say that out. Okay. I originally, I grew up in a little town, right? And there was a lot of impoverished kids. Like my goal was to kind of have like a champion brand that was affordable. That was the first like realm of Bmoney Beast. It had nothing to do with wrestling. And then it was like, I don't care about this and I'm not going to do this. And I care about underprivileged people. I just don't like what I was doing. So we kind of shifted. And then we did rounds of shoes and we've got them all over the place. And then we're like, well, I don't really like that either. So now we kind of found our niche. We do gear packages and things for a ton of teams. And then we created this card game and this like universe. And I'm like, dude, we're backtracking off. We're doing something nobody else has ever done. Yeah. So I'm like, now I'm having fun with it. I can be creative. And so I think that's like half the battle. Are you gonna, whenever you start, whatever you think is going to be a straight arrow, it's going to go a million different directions before you settle into what you think you're going to be. I'm just giving you that as a, FYI kind of thing. Sure. So the season, I guess, is coming. You got about a month left of the season?
About, give or take a little bit, yeah.
What's the off season look like, man, in college? Like whenever the season's over, like what happens?
The off season in college usually is we'll still be like doing our like lifts we do in season, but they'll be changed, tweaked a little bit, and then our coach will send it to us through email because like everyone's all in different places now over the summer. Usually, some guys are still here training. Guys that live up here, guys that live close by to here, they'll stay up here and train. And then as the wrestling wise goes, usually back home you'll go back to your like club, or you can go wrestle at your high school if you wanted to, like you did when you were in high school, or back to your club from high school. So usually that's about it. Just staying active, keeping up with the sport, not losing anything with it. So
what do you do on an average week in the summer? 2 or 3 days a week, something like that?
Usually in the summer, I try to work out 5 days a week, even if it's not just wrestling, like even just going for a run or like anything like that, doing some cardio. Even most of my summer is just staying in good shape and going and doing some technique or something like that.
Same with you, Mason. You live up there, so you're near the school, right?
Yeah, and it's actually really nice too with our school is our coaches have practices on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the summer. So for those guys that maybe don't have like academy or camps to go back to or anything like that, they would for sure be able to come in those days, which is nice. And a lot of the recruits, so the incoming freshmen will go there. So it's just another chance for us to kind of meet them beforehand. But yeah, other than that, I would agree with Luke. I think keeping your body very physically in shape is just nothing but helpful. And then in the summer, I just focus a lot on technique and practice when I can.
Do either one of you guys jump in on like some freestyle in the summer? You ever done that?
I'm not too fond of that. I wasn't the greatest at it in high school. I wrestled a lot of Greco in high school, but no, not anymore now that I'm in college.
Dude, same thing.
not a big freestyle. Dude, I feel like the new rules it's translating more. I think they did that on purpose to kind of translate more to freestyle and folk style to translate a little more.
Yeah.
And, if you look at this past Olympic cycle, we probably had our worst run as a country in a long time, right? But you got to think our guys that are on top that keep making these teams, they're getting older, and we're not getting this backfill. Now I think Bo Bassett in 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, when he graduates college, he'll probably be one. That Blaze kid from Ohio, he's got a good shot. Jax Forrest, those kids. But dude, I think that had to be a lot to do with around the same time as the rules changing and things. So I think freestyle. I've always been a big fan. I think Greco, and I don't mean this to hurt anybody's feelings, I think Greco's useless. That's just my opinion. Unless you're literally training to go compete for an Olympic medal in Greco. I mean, sure, you can throw a headlock or a lat drop or an arm throw or something in a folk style match, but dude, like, does it really, when you don't have to worry about, sprawling defense, down blocking, does it really help you? I don't know. But I'm a big advocate for freestyle, dude. I'm excited, man. Like when a freestyle happens, dude, we go to Southeast Regional every year, and you see the old men wrestling that are in like their 70s, and that's the only time you can see something like that. And it's almost like we're talking about WWE earlier. Dude, it's entertainment. All right, let's just say that. It's entertainment. A few years back, we were in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was Greco Day, which, like I said, I'm not a big fan, but we do it just because it's matches. This old man, and God bless him, he was kind of hunched over when he walked out, like he couldn't stand up all the way. And I'm thinking, this dude, what is he doing? He's going to die. He walks out there, and this other guy walks out there. So you got like, you ever watch Family Guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know the old man that's like got the dog, and he's a little off. Remember him?
Yeah.
Walking out, and then like Thor with like gray hair. Okay. it didn't look good. Within 5 seconds of that match, that old man gets like tossed right on his head.
Oh.
And I'm standing at the fence. There's like a fence right by the mat, and I'm standing there. We're watching this, and looking back on it, I wish I'd have recorded it. Right, like it was so good. He's laying there, and he doesn't move. I think he's gone. I think that was like the way he went out of this world. And dude, finally, he kind of starts choking a little bit, and he goes, he's like, "My motherfucking back!" he just screamed it. And it like echoed. And I was like, dude, I got to hang out and watch this. We sat there for hours and watched like these Masters divisions in Greco. Bro, if I can give you any advice, go to one of these regionals and watch that. That is the funniest thing. And it's almost like they can't move on. It's like these football coaches that are coaching middle school football when they're in their 70s because they just can't let go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. I don't care. I don't want to, dude, I don't know. But it was great. So, guys, I want to stay in contact with you guys. I think this is awesome, man, what y'all are doing. If I can ever help you in any way, I want y'all to reach out to me. Be like, hey, man, we need help with this or that. Whatever it is, dude, just reach out to me. Yep. I'd like to help in any way. And, man, keep doing what you're doing. Like, you got a really cool, situation here and a really cool opportunity to maybe blow something up. And, social media makes millionaires every day, guys.
Yeah, 100%.
So, content creation is turning into like this really big thing. And I don't even understand it, but like it is. So, well, guys, before we close this up, we've had a really good 50 minutes here, learned about college wrestling and how Luke's dad's a pro wrestler and how many times, this has been really cool. So before we go, though, I want you to tell everybody that'll see this, like how they can follow you on what platforms, what they could maybe see in the future, and maybe throw out y'all's goals for the rest of this season and throughout college.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we have TikTok and Instagram currently. Both are just wwewannabes, and you'll be able to find them. We post pretty frequently on our TikTok, and then if we post every once in a while on our Instagram. We try and keep it a little bit more professional. But TikTok, you can just expect to see a lot of just funny, stupid skits that we've been making and stuff. Maybe we'll try some other videos, see how those do. But yeah, I guess I would say for the rest of the season, I want to just try and get my body back to the competing ability. And I would say for TikTok, we really want to hit 10,000 followers, I think. So
10K was
we have a little special something planned, a special video planned.
Special video
plan.
But what's your long-term goals, Mason, for the rest of your college wrestling career?
Well, I mean, I would say a lot of the time I just kind of am focused on Like if I focus when I try and focus on the wins and stuff, it'll a lot of the time just kind of mess me up and stuff. So I think the best thing that I can do is just kind of focus internally. Like I really want to be in the best shape and be the best like technical wise that I've ever been. So I think that if I do that, everything will just come along.
That's a great outlook, man. What about you, Luke?
Before I graduate, I want to win a team trophy at the Nationals. So that was one of my big goals coming in here. Like I think being an All-American is cool, being a Natty champ is cool, but like I'm here to be on a part of a team too. So I think it would mean a lot more to me if I could win some kind of team trophy at the national tournament with my brothers too. So
dude, I love both of your answers were awesome, man. If I do everything the right way, everything else will follow. Great outlook. And bringing everybody else along and like, I want to do this together. Great outlook, guys. Guys, I'm big fans. I'm sorry I was running late this morning.
No worries.
I appreciate you guys getting on and just chatting with me. Again, if I can do anything for you guys, just reach out to me anytime.
For sure.
Same for you.
Episode 38 of the Bmoney Beastin podcast is in the books.
There we go.